hit the record button. Okay, go.
Okay. Hi, Jeremy, here with a friend, Cherrick, who has an amazing story. He is in great shape. I wish I was in his shape. Who works for a company that is very reputable. They do have good stuff, called Isagenix. He could probably spell it better than I can. What is it? Isagenix.
Yes, that's very good spelling. That is correct.
Yeah, and that's another story. I could spell everything. And amazing story, and we had discussed is where I can't help you, he might be able to. He knows things I don't, and I know things he doesn't, but this is what we do is for your benefit. It's not for our benefit. So here is, the questions, like I said, I would ask is the who, what, when, where, why, and how, a full interview with Cherrick, hopefully a full interview, and that's it. So who are you?
So I am Cherrick Gordon, and my background, I was not always into health and wellness. I was not always, one of the terms they like to use is a health and wellness coach, whatever that means. But my background is in pediatric physical therapy of all things. I used to be a pediatric physical therapist, and I would drive from where I live. I would go to people's homes and I would work with their children, and 2 or 3 times a week. I loved what I did, but I couldn't control my environment. A lot of the places I was going to were some of the rougher neighborhoods. And I also found that in my mid-40s, I was just getting tired all the time. I would seriously schedule a nap like 2 o'clock in the afternoon in between my clients, and I would take a nap and wake up, sleep for like half an hour, wake up and continue working. I had toothbrush, toothpaste in my car because it was a serious nap. You'd wake up with morning breath. And I would continue working and then come home. But as I started having my own children, I have 2 kids. I have a 8-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. I wanted to spend more time with them. And so about 3.5 years ago at this point, my wife came home and she wanted to lose some weight. And so she decided that, she heard about this system. Our nanny who was taking care of my daughter at the time, she was bragging that her husband used Isagenix and he lost like 50 pounds in a relatively short period of time too. And so my wife did the system. She lost her weight. She had struggled with weight her entire life, my wife. And what I noticed about her was that her energy levels just went up like amazingly. So like, okay, all of a sudden she's cleaning all over the place more than she normally does, cleaning the windows, stuff like that. And so I was like, maybe I should try it. I tried it. I lost 15 pounds in 30 days, and I had a whole bunch more energy. I'm going to be 53 this year, and now I have more energy in my 50s than I did in my 40s. And I'm 15 pounds less. I've kept it off over the last couple of years, and I just feel better overall. So that's kind of the who I am, and I guess that blended into somewhat into the how kind of question question there. Yeah, so that's essentially who I am. I'm not like, I don't like folks to think of me as a nutritionist or a nutrition expert, because I am not. I'm just a happy customer. For instance, we have products. I'm a happy customer who tried a system, liked it, and essentially I kind of, you could say I use my body as my own laboratory, where we have something that we take early in the mornings for stress. It's called Ionic Supreme. And it's just a formulation of a bunch of herbs. It's got adaptogens in it, things like that. And it just does what it says it's going to do. It helps you to adapt to stress. And from time to time, I'll say, you know what, is this stuff really as good as they say it is? And I'll just stop taking it for 3-4 days. And lo and behold, every time I'll find myself just yelling at the kids for no reason. They're doing 8-year-old and 6-year-old stuff Like they'll get into mischief, and I just will not have my
Mhm.
normal calm demeanor. And I'll be like, wait a minute, you're not taking your ionics. So that's why you're all agitated. And so that's why I love the products that I take. That's why I love the Isagenix system, and it's been working really well for me. I know that there are things that I don't know, and experiences that I have not gone through that that other people may need. Some people they may need a very customized and individualized approach to their weight loss rather than something that's
Yes.
just okay, plug you in, these are the products, here you are. Obviously I do some coaching, but it's not on the level that you do, Jeremy, where you're much more personalized with what it is that you do. So what's your next
Yeah,
question?
because I
Yeah.
part of going to school is I had to learn to read blood test results.
Oh,
So yeah, and that could be if you need it more specific to you. Okay, take this. Okay, your blood test says vitamin B12 or whatever. I don't know all of what Isagenix has, but stuff like that. You mentioned you lost the weight. What? Are you? Do you do it full time? I'm going into when?
well,
How do you like? What?
in the beginning, me and my wife, we kind of backed our way and fell accidentally into a network marketing business where we were just happy customers. My wife did her system during the summer when she was off from school. My wife is a school psychologist. And when she went back, it was just interesting the amount of people that were just like, okay, what are you doing? What's going on with you? Why are you wearing skinny jeans? Why are you looking so much more energetic and vibrant? What are you doing? You're doing something. What's your secret? So she started sharing it with them just naturally, organically. And the next thing you know, she came home and she was like, oh, I made this amount of money. And this is what I made. This is what I did. And I was like, okay. So then when I did mine system, I did mine like 2 months after my wife did hers. I actually took some before pictures of what I looked like. Like a lot of people start something and they're just like, listen, I'm just going to start. Some people that are afraid to take pictures of themselves. They're just like, prefer to
Yeah,
be behind the camera or off the picture and out of the picture entirely. Um, so I, I, that's how we kind of started, just gradually sharing here and there, not really making any kind of money, significant money. And last year, when the pandemic hit, I found myself where I was home in a job that I typically go to people's homes. And now my daughter has asthma, and she has really bad asthma. She had it since she was probably about 9 months old. And we didn't want to take any chances. And so I actually have not gone back to being a physical therapist. I'm still doing virtual therapy. But a lot of my clients fell off because they chose to wait for me to come back. I don't think anyone anticipated that we'd be locked down for this long.
yep.
And so a lot of my clients actually aged out. But while we were locked down, I said, you know what can I do? And I decided to start just networking, connecting with people. I feel like I'm always trying to figure out different ways that I can be of service to people. And when I meet people and they start talking with me, they get that sense from me that, I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to tell them exactly what I think. And that if what I have I think is a good fit for them, I will let them know. Sometimes it's actually not a good fit for people. Like if I'm having a conversation with someone and we're like, tell me a little bit about what your eating habits. And he's like, well, I eat like a medium a medium pie every night. And I was like, okay, well, you're going to have to give up that if you want to do the isogenic system. He's like, no, I can't give up pizza. Then all he would wind up doing is wasting time. His time, my time, and his money. I don't want that. I want people to be successful. I want him to have a good transformation. And so I would say, you know what? You need to speak to someone who can dig deeper into your mindset as to why you feel you must have pizza every night. Like you just can't give that up, even though your doctor's telling you, okay, this is seriously killing you. So that's kind of the how we got into it and where we are. So right now I'm moving towards full time. I would say right now I am full time. Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, that's a good thing. You can do it like that. You just said something that makes me think of, hopefully this adds, is the first semester I went back to school for nutrition. I already had a bachelor's degree in something else, but I went back part-time because I was working full-time, and I knew I'd have to do internships. But so school had to be part-time. But that first semester, class I was taking, well, it was called Human Bionutrition. There was that, and there was something else. And it dissected the word vitamin. And I don't remember if it's Latin, Greek, but as it translates into English, is part of the word vitamin is VITA. These things are vital. The AMIN, which you probably can put that together like amino acids, is necessary for life. They're vital. Right. This stuff is vital because, especially in America, we're overweight, we drink, we smoke, and that takes away from our bodies. And something hopefully this will add with you. These products, I know I was talking to somebody a couple of weeks ago about lung function, how somebody was taking, I don't remember which it was, how they smoke, but they took some of these products and their lung function improved.
Absolutely.
And they smoke. Like, put that together. That's got to be hard because you're counteracting. And this is why I say in some of my videos that when they say 100% recommended daily allowance,
right,
that doesn't mean 100% you're done. Because
right.
every single body is different. 100% is the minimum.
Exactly. It's the bare minimum. You know, the funny thing is when you talk about smoking, I remember as I'm a physical therapist, I had to go through anatomy classes and we dissected an entire actual human being, a cadaver body, and cut it apart. It started off with an entire body with not a single scratch on it. And by the end, it was just pieces of body parts. I tell you that to make this point. We got to a point where we took out the lungs and actually examined the lungs. The lungs of a non-smoker are pink. The lungs of a smoker are black. The tar builds up in the lungs. There are these things all the way, think of them as little balloons all the way at the very bottom of your lungs called air sacs. And that's where the transfer of oxygen actually occurs from your lungs to your blood vessels. The tar gets trapped in there. And so now you have all these air sacs, and now the entire lung just has this dark black look to it. So now in order for a smoker to be able to take a vitamin and improve his lung function while continuing to smoke, which is counterintuitive, you would expect the person, you'd be like, listen, the interesting thing about it is, let me finish my thought and then I'll make another point. One, it's a testament to how good the products are Isagenix products, because they were able to improve his lung function without him stopping smoking. Also, another way of him improving his lung function would have been to just stop smoking. His lung function probably would have increased a lot more had he stopped smoking, versus the fact that he continued smoking and started taking Isagenix vitamins. That's like, okay, that's good. I'm glad your lung function improved. You want to skyrocket your lung function, stop smoking altogether. And he probably would not have needed those vitamins, I guess is my second point, where it's like, okay, you know what, if he had made that adjustment to his behavior, then he would have improved significantly more. You know, he would have improved quite a bit more.
Yep.
But that was interesting that he was able to improve his lung function and keep smoking. Good for him.
Part of the reason, aside from being a nutritionist, just me, Jeremy, as a person, I went to a seminar a couple of months ago. I want to say it was like November, December, about like I firmly believe, and I do not work for the vitamin shop, and they will never pay me,
Mm.
but the vitamin shop. I believe in it. But there were certain things I was getting generic, not vitamin shop brand, nothing like, but plain old generic vitamins. And
Mm.
at this seminar, they had this, I forgot what it's called. I don't work for them either. But they measured, you put your hand on this device and it measures levels of vitamins and this and that in your blood. And it couldn't believe, like, from these generic, not vitamin shop vitamins, how low my levels were. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm loading up on these things and literally flushing them down the toilet.
Well, you had what's called expensive pee.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're just peeing them out.
and couldn't believe it. So, which is my now again as a person coming to believe in products like Isagenix. It's not like Cherrick is trying to sell them to you to make money. This is because they work. Like
Absolutely.
I'm like, how am I taking these vitamins and literally flushing them then down the toilet?
Yeah.
And coming, and they say with me being in recovery, you have to come to believe there's a better way that works. And what Cherrick does is amazing, especially from a physical therapist too, who's in great, she's in better shape than I am. So,
Well, I've probably lived a less interesting life than you have. It sounds like you had quite the interesting life. I'm sure there's quite a bit of partying and party stories. When I was in the Navy, well, of course I was young. I was very young. I was 19 years old. That's when I did my heavy drinking, and I've went onto my ship many days hungover and not able to be at my post when they went back out to sea because I was hungover from the last night of partying that you absolutely got to get in before you leave. I've been to like 20 something different countries around the world because I spent 6 years in the Navy. And we had stupid habits that we used to do. We used to do stupid things like we would steal a beer glass from every bar we went to in a foreign country. And I had like a whole bunch of beer glasses from all these different places. Why that was important to a 19-year-old, I don't know. But that was just me being totally stupid. But getting back to your point about the vitamins, all vitamins are not created equal. And I know that because, like I said earlier, I use myself as my own laboratory. I'll just stop taking the vitamins. They come in these handy AM and PM packs, our vitamins, and I'll just stop for a little while and just see how I feel. When I take them, I can actually feel the vitamins. We have your vitamin D's, your CoQ10s, your resveratrol, all the good stuff, and they compile them together where they're not for anyone who has like a specific vitamin deficiency. Then I would recommend to that person, you know what, go get that specific individual vitamins. If you're one of the things I like about the devices that you talk about, I'm familiar with another gentleman who actually markets those devices where you can analyze your blood through the skin. You don't have to submit a blood sample or anything or be stuck by a
yeah,
needle or anything like that. It's just through the skin. And they can figure out what vitamins you are deficient in. And that can give you a much more targeted approach. Now,
yes.
because everyone is not deficient in everything. And so I love that device. I like it. I told him, you know what, you got to hook me up with a guy in my neighborhood, so in my area that I can get to pretty quickly without traveling halfway across the country. And I'll go test my body and see how I'm doing and say, you know what, okay, does it make sense to me to be putting these vitamins in my body? Yeah, the human body is a weird thing because there are actually times when you might be taking too much vitamins,
Yeah.
and that will have a counter intuitive, just as negative an impact as if you were deficient. If you're deficient, you're going to have certain problems. If you have too much, you're going to have a whole different set of problems. And it's important to find your balance for your body.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember learning in school about vitamin E and cancer.
Mm.
But some of those vitamins that can be too much, the ones I can think, the four I can think of off the top of my head, I remember DAKE, vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin K, and vitamin E. DAKE. That's just how I remember it. It stuck when I first learned it.
Jake.
And it is possible, but part of vitamin E is because whether you're thin or not, it's a fat soluble vitamin. But if you have cancer, vitamin E protects the human cells. It is a protection. If you've heard of antioxidant, it does other things besides antioxidant. But if you take, and when I was learning that, my mother got diagnosed with stage 0 breast cancer, like stage 0. They caught it like the day she got it, kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
And telling her, and we had the same general doctor, we both loved him. He was great in New York. And, but telling her, because he said something, yes, he's a doctor, he knows more than I do about whatever it was he told her. And I said, Mom, you have to be careful with vitamin E because your body will protect its own cells. And this is not necessarily about my mother, I mean this in general, but it will protect your own cells.
Right.
Cancer comes from your own cells. So your vitamins, if you have enough of it, will protect the cancer as well.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So like, to see a doctor and have these blood, even with one of those devices.
Right.
And to get a personalized thing.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And like, I don't know about you, but I'll see you can say on me is like, I have certain physical problems. Like for legit, I'm pretty open about it, is I have a heart problem.
Okay.
It's not cholesterol. It's not nothing like that. My blood pressure results is actually really weird, is you can take it now and it'll be 120/80. Somebody else can take it 3 minutes later, it'll be 190/170. A minute after that, it'll be 0/0. So for me, especially with a heart, it'll be beating, it'll say 0/0. But like specific things, like I have to be careful with cholesterol. Again, it wasn't a cholesterol related problem, but these supplements, they work. I went to the doctor. I take a lot of omegas. Does Isagenix have omegas?
Yeah, we do. We have omegas. Yeah. Our vitamins has omega-3s. Yeah.
Okay. And I went, and my total cholesterol, it was the first time I had seen the cardiologist, any cardiologist, is moving to Florida. And my total cholesterol, this is how much I believe in omega-3s. My total cholesterol, 100. I'm like, what the hell? That's like unheard of.
Wow. That's nice.
Because like someone like me with a heart problem has to do that. Because it's not that the omega-3s and the heart, it's the omega-3s dealing with the cholesterol.
Right.
They work. One thing omega-3s do is it can counteract cholesterol. It's also good for brain, and circulate. Your brain is made of, I don't remember the exact numbers, but your brain is partially made of omega-3s.
Absolutely.
I don't remember if it's 1%, if it's 90%. But your brain, there are components of components of the brain that are omega-3s. And also for someone like me, and I say in all my videos, is 100% is the minimum. For someone like me with a heart problem,
right,
even though it wasn't cholesterol, has to watch their cholesterol. Omega-3s counteract that.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is, I believe, in what Cherrick does.
All right, absolutely. I totally agree with you, my friend. So what's your next question?
I'm thinking when is like, do you do this full-time, part-time? You mentioned the physical therapy.
Yes, right now I'm moving into full time. I would not say I'm up to, well, I'm not up to earning a full-time income doing it. I'm still very much part-time in that category, but I'm making certain steps, taking certain steps towards making it for a full-time income and being able, oh no, okay, so we say it, I have the basic version of Zoom, and we've already been on. We're close to 40 minutes, so they said we're gonna run out of time in 9 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, but I guess you have a couple. You have time for a couple more questions.
no, I think we did. You went into a little bit of the who, the what, I just did the when. Did we do a what? And I don't mind being real with myself. Don't take myself so damn seriously. What, like, why do you believe in Isagenix?
Well, that's a very good question, and the answer to that is forget about the fact that thousands of people have used it in this country and around the world. Um, here's a quick statistic for you. If you work with someone and you do a great job and they're like, man, Jeremy did an excellent job, you know how many people they're likely to tell? 3. They're going to tell 3 people. If you do a bad job, they will tell 12 people. That's just that's just human nature. They've done studies that have proven this. It's not it's not made up. It's a statistical fact. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you have a company like Isagenix that doesn't do any direct advertising, they just have their products, people try their products, and then they love them so much that they share it with 3 people, which is what the typical person will do. And they're able to make money and expand and grow and develop new formula lines. And in 20 years, grow to become, right now, I think we are like a $10 billion company. And we're in 26 countries around the world where we've expanded. We're all over the United States, all over Canada, we're in Mexico, and now we're invading Europe. Where we launched, like I want to say, like in 2019 is when we went into Europe. We're in London. So those are the big numbers. But for me, on a very personal level, I've watched my wife, who struggled with weight her entire life, and watched her be able to get on a system and finally just not have to worry about her weight anymore. And for myself, losing 15 pounds that I didn't think I needed to lose, but just being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how great I feel. And now to be able to continue like that, to have products that when you put them in your body, you feel fantastic. And when you don't put them in your body, you miss them because you're like, I'm not feeling quite right. What's going on? I've actually had someone, I used to be in an organization called BNI. It's a networking group, a paid networking group. And I had someone in there, she didn't get her Isagenix from me. She had gotten her Isagenix from someone else who was in the group before I joined the group. And she came and she was like, Cherrick, I don't know what's going on. I'm drinking my shakes, but something's missing. I'm not feeling myself. And I said, when was the last time you drank some Ionic Supreme? That's the product I mentioned earlier. And she was like, oh, it's been like 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, there you go. And lo and behold, we had that meeting. Our meetings are on Wednesdays. So we met once a week. Next Wednesday, I saw her. She came in, the very first words out of her mouth. It's like, Cherrick, I got my shipment. I'm feeling fantastic. Okay, you put some Ionics back in your shipment. And those are the kinds of little mini testimonials. Like, we have tons of testimonials. You've seen them, Jeremy, that reaffirms that, okay, the products work. And so I'm not just sharing something that I'm selling. I'm actually sharing something that I know can help folks. And I like the fact that Isagenix is very careful to say to, to have a legal disclaimer, not claim to cure anything. As a matter of fact, the only product that we
Yep.
have that we will say this can lower your cholesterol, we have something called a heart shake booster. And I was having a conversation with someone recently, and he told me his cholesterol is off the charts. Like, they can't read it. It's so high, the machine, they can't read it. There's like no top number. It's like just says max. And you're like, okay, first of all, that's a scary way to live your life, because you're a walking heart attack. I don't have to tell you, you know, right? And so I told him, listen, I have something. It's called a heart shake booster, and it is specifically designed and formulated to lower your cholesterol. And I'm excited to see what it's going to do for him. We have to have another conversation to actually get him started, but I'd like to recommend that product to him and let him know that, okay, you know what, this can actually help you. But besides that, we are in the business of wellness. As a matter of fact, they just changed it to well-being. And well-being is simply recognizing that preventative health is the best health. Getting cancer and then recovering from cancer, no. Getting a heart attack and then recovering, no. Getting a stroke and then recovering, that's not the way to go. Besides, our healthcare system, as we know, it's not designed to make you healthy and get off the pill. It's designed to keep you on the pill, and it doesn't correct anything. It's like someone with high blood pressure. You take some high blood pressure medication and you lower your blood pressure just enough. The moment you stop taking that pill, your pressure just shoots right back up. You didn't cure this person's high blood pressure. Now you've given them a pill. And then when their diabetes start acting up, you give them another pill. And when it's cholesterol starts acting up, you give them another pill. And the next thing you know, by the time someone is in his 60s and 70s, they've got like a tray of pills. You're a walking pharmaceutical company.
Yes.
You're just surviving on medication. And I don't, like my mom right now, we're trying to systematically just get her off of as many meds as she can, because it's like the doctor tells me, I'm looking at your mom, but it's kind of like a balancing act. Like if I give her too much of this, it's going to make her blood pressure go up. And if I give her too much of that, it's going to make the blood pressure come too low. It's like, where you're just giving them stuff and you got to constantly be watching out for the side effects, So that's why I love and I'm passionate about what it is that I do. And so that's why I enjoy sharing it with people. And I will continue to do that until I die. And they were like, oh my God, Cherrick passed. He looks so healthy. So we are running out of time here, my friend, but it was great chatting with you. You have any parting words for us?
This stuff works. And the reason as far as getting healthy, I don't know so much about the vitamins, but the reason, and I'm open about it, having a heart problem, the reason I lived through my heart problem was taking stuff like this. I was 32 when my heart gave out, not cholesterol related, nothing like that. And the only reason that's what they said, because I was taking this stuff, I lost a lot of weight. I was 150 pounds when my heart gave.
Wow.
And it was because I lost my weight, and this stuff works. So absolutely. That's the parting words.
That's a good way to end the segment, my friend. You take care, my friend.
You too. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.